Hello everyone, I'm here in our Sibit Mukanov Regional Library. My name is Alena, and today I'm going to tell you about my favorite books, speaking more precisely about books which amused me and so on. And I would like to start with probably the most, let it be the first rather complicated book, that is Frankenstein or Modern Prometheus by Mary Shelley. So I like this book because it shows us the original version of the story of Frankenstein. Nowadays everyone knows monster Frankenstein, a Frankenstein monster, but not all people know that its name, monster's name, or it's better to say his name, is not Frankenstein, because the book is about his creator, about Victor Frankenstein. And there is one more interesting thing, we call it illusion, a modern Prometheus. So I hope you are acquainted with Greek myths about Prometheus, who brought fire to people, and because of this fire, people began to, they began their evolution, so to say, yeah? And in this book, the creator, Victor Frankenstein, is the Prometheus. So why I like this book, why it amused me? Because of the language, of course. So as you may see, during the reading, I usually underline some unknown words and write the translation of this word in order to understand the meaning better. So as I have told you before, it was one of my first books. That's why I have a lot of underlines and translated words here. So the language is rather difficult. There are a lot of useful words, of course. You may use them in your everyday life, or you may use them just to sound more kind of interesting and so on. Another interesting thing here is that the author used poems from her, so to say, friends, because there was a society of lake poets, and Mary Shelley and her husband and her friends, they were members of this lake poets society in England, of course. And there is examples of such poets as Wordsworth. It is given here, like a short extract from his poem, and another poet, I really like him. Just wait a second, I will find, I cannot find it unfortunately. It is Coleridge, The Rime of the Ancient Mariner. It's rather huge poem, but it's so interesting, so it is somewhere here. Well, I strongly recommend you to read this book, just to get the idea of the origin of the monster, and of course to improve your language. It's better to read it with the level B2 C1. Keep it in mind. Let's move on. So the next book, which is mostly maybe for ladies, maybe for young ladies who strive for love, Gone with the Wind, Margaret Mitchell. I'm sure that you've seen the movie, but frankly speaking, this book has nothing to do with the movie. Yeah, characters are the same, maybe some events are the same, but still, you, while reading, you use your own imagination. That's why probably Scarlet will look different, Red Butler will look different, and so on. This book, it's rather easy to read, and another interesting thing, it has illustrations given here, like this. Yes, it is original, and moreover it has a glossary over here. For every chapter there are some words and phrases, and maybe some places are given, or some events, like for instance like it is given here, it is shown here. So the book reflects some historical events, the war between South and North, and well, as I have told you before, The language is rather easy, and grammar is rather easy. That's why. So there are 3 books, frankly speaking. And so this book will be useful for students or just for readers with a level probably A2 or B1. Okay, the next. Well, let's speak about some popular books. I hope it's not a secret that one of the most trending shows right now is on The Witcher, with Henry Cavill as the main character, as the leading with the leading role. And this is one of the books from the series of The Witcher. It is written by the Poland author, but still the translation given here, so the book is printed in the United States, of course, and that's why the language is good, is great. Again, it's rather difficult to read because of some original names of characters and names of places and so on, and that's why sometimes I struggle to read them. It's rather easy to read, for instance, some such names as trees, Yennefer, Geralt, and so on, Ciri, and so on, but there are a lot of different names of places, and in this case sometimes I use a dictionary, online dictionary, so I strongly recommend you to use dictionaries while reading books. So what do we have here? There are a lot of dialects, and there are a lot of such useful words which can help you to introduce characters' words, authors' words, and so on. And if you write your own stories, I recommend you to try this book in order to get some useful vocabulary. Well, the grammar here is rather difficult too, I would say. There are a lot of long sentences, and sometimes it takes me to reread it once or for the 3 times and so on, but still the book is very interesting. And I recommend this book for students with the C1, C2 levels. And the last but not the least, I would say it's my favorite book, or just a novel from the series of books. It is about Sherlock Holmes. So yeah, the book is rather old, but still. It is written by Arthur Conan Doyle, and I hope you are all at least familiar or at least heard the name of Sherlock Holmes and his devoted friend, Dr. Watson. And the precise, let's call it story, or maybe one of the novels, is The Hound of the Baskervilles. Usually we read it with the students of the 4th year, because again the language is rather difficult. There are a lot of long, complicated words, but they are all useful for what? No, for your scientific work, for instance. If you're a student, you will write a diploma paper or an article at least, or you will have an examination, for instance, and you may use these words during your speech and so on. And of course, grammar. There are a lot of really beautiful sentences, because Arthur Conan Doyle is a master of language. Moreover, I like the plot, because detective stories are usually interesting to read, as for me. And reading this novel, this story, so to say, we have a lot of suspects, because Sherlock has a lot of ways to think, to conduct, to lead his case, and we are following him, and we are thinking with him, and we are building our deductions with him. And well, frankly speaking, sometimes students, they try to use all these deduction methods, because in the book they are clearly explained better than in movies, especially if we take into account the last movie with Benedict Cumberbatch, for instance. Well, I love him, but still, if we compare the original book and the recent detective TV shows, I mean, they are absolutely different. the plot, only the names and some overall ideas are the same. Well, and yeah, as I have told you before, the language is rather difficult. That's why I strongly recommend it to read with C1 or C2 level. And of course, reading helps us to improve our language, to feel it, to dive into it. That's why it's better to read, not just to listen to or to watch. If you want to learn the language, you should get information actively. And the best way is to read. Okay, I hope it was interesting. И немного того же самого, но на русском. Во-первых, здравствуйте, уважаемые читатели библиотеки, областной библиотеки имени Сабита Муканова. Поздравляю всех со Старым Новым Годом. И сегодня вот вкратце я рассказала о тех книгах, которые мы читаем на английском языке с нашими студентами, и те, которые я читаю сама в свободное время для того, чтобы поддерживать уровень языка на должном уровне. «Франкенштейн» или «Новый Прометей» в плане языка очень полезная книга, в плане ознакомления со сложными грамматическими конструкциями. Будет полезно для тех, кто уже достиг уровня B2, C1, C2, кто расширяет горизонты, языковые горизонты, скажем так. Мы читаем с студентами 4-го курса. И вообще эта книга, возможно, да, она считается научной фантастикой, одна из первых, скажем так, фантастических книг, написанной женщиной, эпохи романтизма, представительницей поэтов озерной школы. Но здесь излагается оригинальная история, да, монстра, созданного Виктором Франкенштейном. Вторая книга, ее я читала самостоятельно. Почему? Потому что я выросла на «Унесенных ветром». И поэтому просто это была цель жизни прочесть в оригинале. В оригинале звучит совершенно по-другому, нежели при просмотре фильма, даже при прочтении на русском языке. Потому что многие элементы, многие вещи сам читатель додумывает, изображает, представляет в своей голове сам. Язык достаточно легкий, слова простые, предложения короткие, грамматическая структура тоже очень простая, поэтому подойдет и для начинающего читателя вполне. Не так много новых слов, плюс книга снабжена еще и словарем, то есть в каждой главе имеются переведенные и предложения, даже целые предложения, да, и словосочетания, слова, плюс еще и какие-то исторические элементы, скажем так, допустим, там, Союз Штатов, The Union просто, да, или Конфедерация и так далее. То есть здесь имеет место отражение исторических фактов. Далее популярное шоу, популярный телесериал «Ведьмак». И одна из книг Анджея Сапковского – это «Ведьмак и кровь эльфов». Точно не скажу, какая она по счету, потому что я их читала в разброс, что-то на русском, что-то на английском. Читается сложно в плане наличия имен собственных, которые, собственно, с польского языка были заимствованы, поэтому если имена Геральт, Йеннифер, Цири и так далее достаточно просто читаются, то есть вещи, которые без словаря не прочитаешь. Здесь очень много диалогов, описаний. Диалоги короткие, простые, поэтому для уровня B2, C1 будет достаточно легко читать. И при этом, если вы сами пишете какие-то рассказы, возможно, короткие стихи, тогда это тоже можно будет отсюда позаимствовать очень много лексического материала, очень богатого материала лексического. И, наконец, последняя книга, которую я бы назвала своей любимой, достаточно сложная, но интересная, которую мы читаем по домашнему чтению с студентами 4-го курса. Это «Собака Баскервилей» Артура Конан Дойля. Сразу скажу, что читать ее сложно. Там очень много сложных слов и грамматических конструкций. Но оно того стоит, потому что прям после прочтения первой главы ощущаешь, насколько обогатился лексический запас. И главное не откладывать этот запас в долгий ящик и пытаться использовать его на деле. Где-то 1, 2, 3 слова попытаться в речи как-то использовать. Я надеюсь, вам было интересно, надеюсь, это было полезно. Еще раз всех с Старым Новым Годом, читайте и учите иностранные языки. Всем спасибо, до свидания.